Hello and thank you for joining me, and as you can see today we're out on the beach with the XP Deus II and we're going to be running through some top tips and the best settings. So without any further ado, let's get started. So within the Deus II we have three factory beach programs. We've got diving, beach and beach sensitive. The diving mode is probably the most stable program for wet sand use and it uses a lower frequency. The beach mode uses up to 24 kilohertz and the beach sensitive uses up to 40 kilohertz, so it's going to be really sensitive to those tiny pieces of jewellery, although you need to adapt a more precise sweep speed and technique. When you've selected one of the three beach modes in the Deus II, you'll see an extra feature and it's called the salt sensitivity. And it runs very similar to your conventional sensitivity, but it adjusts the reaction from the salt and the surf. So salt sensitivity is at 0, it's the lowest setting, and 9 is the highest setting, meaning it's the most sensitive. So this is going to be the best sensitivity setting for small jewellery. However, it may cause some instabilities. So have a little play around with the salt sensitivity when you're on the beach and just adjust it to the smoothest setting. Traditionally, wet sand is known as conductive. However, some beaches contain magnetic material and this is commonly known as black sand. So if you're experiencing false signals and trouble with black sand, just go into the Deus GB menu and you'll see a new feature there called magnetic on or off. So switch magnetic on for the most stable operation. I'm going to start off using program number 11, the standard beach program, and just make a few adjustments if we get any of those false signals. So here we go, no adjustments, beach number 11. Straight away there, can you hear there's a slight false signalling at the end of each pass? Now that could be two reasons. That could be A, I'm raising my coil at the end of each pass, or it could be what I think is a reactivity setting. So what I'm going to do is go into the reactivity and it defaults at 0. I'm just going to go up a couple of notches to reactivity 1.5 and see if that settles the machine down, because sometimes on this wet sand the lower reactivity settings can introduce false signals. Instantly it's made a big difference. The machine is really stable now and we're into our first target. Another way of making the machine a little bit more stable is the salt sensitivity setting, especially when the surf is lapping over your coil. Don't forget that the surf is conductive, so it's like putting a conductive target across your coil every time the surf comes in. So we've already made a reactivity adjustment, but I don't suggest you go too much higher with reactivity on the wet sand unless there's targets very close together. So we're up to 1.5 on the reactivity. Now let's see if we can make an adjustment using the salt sensitivity. Here we go, let's get into the surf here and you can hear some very slight false signals. We can make further adjustments here using the salt sensitivity. It defaults at 9, which is the maximum sensitivity. So if I turn it down just a little bit, from 9 to 7, listen to the difference. There's hardly any false signals coming from that surf now. So just a fine adjustment on that salt sensitivity can calm the machine down even further. So reactivity 1.5, salt sensitivity 7. So before you start detecting, always check a couple of things. First of all, is there any EMI interference coming through your headphones. In this instance there's not, but if there was, I'd press and hold the GB button and do a frequency scan. Secondly, raise and lower the coil on the wet sand. Are you getting some noise coming through it? In this instance we are, so we need to make a ground balance. Just simply press and hold the pinpoint button while pumping the coil. There it is, it's completely gone, so we've ground balanced the machine, and now we can start detecting. Well, that's the standard beach program sorted out. What about program number 12, beach sensitive, for finding those fine pieces of jewellery? So once again we're on the wet sand here, we're on beach sensitive. We're getting a bit of noise coming from the coil as we go up and down. First of all, we ground balance that out, see if we get rid of it. There we go, it's ground balanced out perfectly now. All I did there was press and hold the pinpoint button and pump it. But we're still getting that feedback. That's right, you've got it, and that's because we've got reactivity at 0. So let's go up to 1.5 on the reactivity. Obviously this may be different on your beaches. 1.5, and let's give it a try. Perfect, we've cracked it. Salt sensitivity is still at 9 because we're not in the surf. Reactivity 1.5, that's excellent. This feature locks the keypad, so when you're diving, the water pressure doesn't make any false adjustments to your keypad. It locks the keypad. To take the dive lock off, all you have to do is press the 3 buttons below the lock padlock icons, 1, 2, 3, in succession, and now your keypad will become active. When the coil is submerged, you will need to use the antenna kit, and it's easy to attach. You just attach one end to the coil using the elastic band fixing kit, wind the antenna around the stem, and then clip it to the top of the RC using the all-new Deus II clip system. So that's my top tips on setting up the Deus II for wet sand work. First of all, make sure you get an accurate ground balance. If you raise and lower the coil and you're getting an audio change, hold down the pinpoint button and pump it until it's silent. Secondly, make sure you get that reactivity set just right. And then thirdly, if you're in the surf, don't be frightened to make a few small changes to that salt sensitivity. Well, in part 2 we're going to go out on this wet sand and hopefully dig some targets. So until then, happy hunting, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye for now.